Oh my gosh, we are getting so close. I'm going to keep reading page 190. Mr. Garvey's delight was short lived. Without thinking, he pushed the on button again and was quickly reminded it was broken. It screened gray and lifeless. Winston had the vague and silly notion that solving the sixth puzzle would cause the computer to magically heal itself. Nope. A lot of good having the final answer would do them when they had no way to send it to Dimitri Simon at the factory. They just couldn't win. Mr. Garvey kept pushing the power button, still as if something different might happen. He mashed the other keys on the keyboard. He smacked it on the back. Finally, he gave up and sat on the bench, his arms dangling, a man who had reached the end of the road. He wasn't happy about finding the sixth answer, nor was he angry. In a way, Mr. Garvey looked a bit broken himself. There must be something we can do, said Winston. We'll drive to the factory, Winston said, real fast. Mr. Garvey looked up, considering that. Winston envisioned him zigzagging through traffic like a madman, refusing to hit the brake for any reason. They might not even stop in the parking lot. They could crash through the front door of the building, bulldozing down the narrow hallway right into Simon's office. Mr. Garvey just shook his head. It's still a half hour away, maybe more. By the time we get there, someone else will have figured it out. I have an idea, Jake said softly. We could go to the girls, tell them what happened, and they could submit it for us. Mal was bewildered. Why would we do that? Well, we could split the prize money with them. Now, if Jake had said that even 5 minutes ago, Winston guessed that Mr. Garvey's head would have exploded. But now the teacher looked thoughtful. He frowned and slumped back on the bench. No, they won't do that. Not after what I did to them in the museum. What we did, Mal said, making we sound like the most unbelievable two-letter word in the world. Okay, what I did. I double-crossed them, and there's no way they're going to help us now. Well, you know they might, Jake said. You played that trick on them, and it wasn't nice. But Winston helped them back in the amusement park. They might not want to help you, but they might help him. Winston helped them? How? Jake filled him in. Winston was astonished that Jake was telling Mr. Garvey this. He wanted to back slowly away and give himself a head start for when the math teacher lunged from the bench to try and kill him. A team had been about to quit, and Winston not only convinced them not to, but helped them on a puzzle. In Mr. Garvey's world, such a thing was unthinkable. But Jake had a funny look on his face while he laid all this out, and when he was done, there were a few seconds or a minute where Mr. Garvey didn't react at all, as if he couldn't figure out how to react. He finally looked at Winston and said, You gave them help on the amusement park thing? Winston nodded. He was ready to leap backward, but Mr. Garvey said, Then Jake's right. They may want to help us back. We need to ask. Come on, we're running out of time. He was up and walking briskly across the wide width of the town green, heading for the girls sitting on their own bench. The boys trailed slightly behind, and Winston said to Jake, Can't believe you told him that. Well, what could he do? Talking so low that their teacher couldn't hear. Is he going to get angry? How dumb would that be? If you hadn't helped the girls, there'd be nobody we could turn to. Now we might be able to get some help of our own. He should get down on his knees and thank you. They were getting close to where the girls were, and Winston could see Mr. Garvey slow down a bit. What was he going to say? Winston might have lent them some assistance, but Mr. Garvey was still the guy who left them standing stupidly in the dark hallway. The frosty look on Miss Norris's face as they approached the bench was further indication that this wasn't going to be easy. He looked over at Brendan Root's team. Brendan was no longer pacing. The whole team was sitting on the bench, huddled over the same paper. Did that mean they were on the brink to solving that last puzzle? He fought the urge to run over and ask. Mr. Garvey cleared his throat. Miss Norris, we have a little problem, And, well, perhaps you could. The words got stuck somewhere as he looked at the chilly expression on Miss Norris's face. He backed up and tried again. Perhaps you might find it in your heart to help us. Help you? Miss Norris said. Mr. Garvey held up the dead computer, explained what happened. The boys sent embarrassed glances to the girls. It made them all look stupid as dirt that they had allowed the computer to break. Bethany and her friends sent smirky, amused glances back. Well, what could we do to help? Said Miss Norris. If I was inclined to even help you. Didn't sound good. Mr. Garvey pressed on. You wouldn't just be helping me, you'd be helping yourself. How close are you to solving the last riddle? Miss Norris looked at Mr. Garvey suspiciously, not sure she should answer, but finally decided to see where this was going and said, We're still looking for a breakthrough. Giselle piped up. We thought maybe there's a message spelled in these words. But we can't find it, said Elvie. Mr. Garvey clapped his hands together. Well, I'll tell you what. We do have the last puzzle solved. We know the answer. Winston here came through in a big way. But we can't submit the answer with a dead computer. Meanwhile, that team over there, and he pointed to Brendan Root and Company, has been working on the final answer for a long time and are surely minutes away from solving it. So, if you submit the sixth answer for us, we'll split the prize money with you. There was a stunned pause. The first to recover was Bethany. You want to tell us the last answer? Mr. Garvey completely misread the tone of her voice. Of course. No, she countered, and Mr. Garvey's smile disintegrated. Bethany jumped to her feet. Sure, I want to win, but I don't want someone to tell me the answer to the puzzle. I want to figure them out myself. The other girls on the team nodded in agreement. It's just one puzzle, Mr. Garvey said, still glancing over at Brendan Root's team. Winston understood his nervousness. It felt like there was a large digital clock-down timer somewhere, and it was quickly approaching 0. I want to figure it out myself, Bethany insisted. Okay, I guess that's a no, said Miss Garvey, not looking the least bit sorry. What if I gave you a hint? Winston said. Got you on the right track. You guys could still figure it out, then you'll submit your answer and we'll split the prize. Miss Norris and the girls looked at each other, and then Mel said, Come on, you'll get a hint for the final puzzle, and you can take $25,000 home to your school. Well, that was the right move. Hearing that sum of money said out loud melted them. Soon all the girls were nodding, and Bethany said to Winston, All right, what's the hint? Do you know what a word square is? Yeah, Bethany said. Giselle's eyes immediately lit up. A word square. Of course, said Elvie, and soon the three of them and their teacher were writing things on a paper and whispering to each other. There was nothing Winston or his team could do but stand and wait. Mr. Garvey couldn't figure out what to do with his hands. He combed them through his hair, put them on his hips, massaged his wide forehead. He looked like he was trying not to scream at them to solve faster. The girls looked to be on the brink of success. Giselle said, this goes here. And then Bethany said, and that means the last one has to go here. And then there was a final pause as the girls looked at what they had created. Then Elvie said, this has to be it. We did it. And she showed Winston what they had created. So I had to go back and look at my thinking again. At first I thought, it might have figured out what I was thinking, that the Q went first, and then the U, so quasar would be first, and then unsure would be second. But then I went back to Mr. Garvey's word, acquit. Acquit. And this is what the girls put together. Or he said equate, didn't he? So the last answer is crunch. Crunch right there. Yes, type it in. Put it in the computer. Miss Norris glanced at Mr. Garvey but removed the mini computer from her purse. It instantly did the diddly-dee-dee. She gave a confused look. I didn't turn it on yet, she said. Is our computer broken too? Winston had a terrible feeling. He turned toward Brendan Root's team. They were no longer on their bench. He glanced all around the green. They were nowhere to be found. His stomach began to sink down to the middle of Earth. Miss Norris hit a button on the computer. The screen blinked on, and even standing 10 feet away, Winston could see that something was different. Instead of the usual startup screen, there was some kind of message written in big black letters. Uh-oh, said Miss Norris. What does it say? Jake asked. She looked up, surprise and dread mixed together on her face. It says, Please return to Simon's Snack Foods. The contest is over. We have a winner. Oh.